I was at Smash and Splash this weekend, which was a tournament at Key Lime Cove. I got Wizrobe and other people to sign my nuts. So um, today we're going to look at a few more differences between Melee and PM. Standard Toaster has a list here of the drop timings for shield release. When you just release shield normally, you go through a little bit of lag um, where you can jump out of it, but other than that, you can't do anything else. Um, Generally, in Project M, for most characters, it's either like 1 or 2 frames less. Yeah. So if I'm in guard, that's shield. And so releasing it, it's called guard off or shield release. And it's like 15 frames or something. That's going to be different in PM. So like whenever you release shield, there's a delay before you can put it back up. So if I'm going through it, I can't do anything. If I try to press A, nothing's going to happen. But I can, of course, release it, go through it, and then anytime during it, jump out. This is the first frame of it. I can jump out. One difference, though, between that, between Melee and PM with that is Takun realized that, well, through someone else, realized that if you release shield the same frame that you um, press jump, the guard release or shield release overrides the jump. Whereas in PM or Melee, the jump overrides the release for that frame. So sometimes people might screw up their up smash out of shield or up B out of shield, up B out of shield, or just wave dash out of shield, just because they might sometimes be doing the shield release really early on the same frame that they did the jump. And in PM, that would result in you jumping, whereas in Melee, it's going to go into that guard release animation. It's all the small things. So that's the differences there. Another occurrence that people have been finding um, is in Brawl. Brawl's a game of being lenient on the player. So if you think of it that way, you can realize why some of this stuff is the way it is. But whenever you say in Melee, it was designed where, of course, whenever you jump, you go through jump squat. We've been over this, and you slide during it before you actually go into the air. So if you run and right before going to an edge, you go into jump squat, trying to jump. But if it doesn't finish in time, which for someone like Falco, he has a longer jump squat, by the time, if he doesn't, okay, so he made it in time for the jump. But if you do it even sooner to the edge, around here or so, he's in knee bend, he's not going to make it in time, he's going to fall off. Oh, he made it in time. Okay, hold on. Okay, now he's not going to make it. Yeah. Okay, he didn't make it in time, so he just starts falling, and the jump didn't come out. This is different in PM because of Brawl, where you just get stuck at the edge, and the jump squat animation continues. And so you're basically just frozen there until your jump squat starts, and then you actually commit the jump. So there's no way to just fall off even though you started the jump squat first. So some Project M player playing Melee might not notice this too well and screw themselves over by doing a jump too near the edge or whatever, and have to waste their double jump or something. And some other stuff is oh yeah, I need to cover one thing that I mentioned in the description on the past video where I went for like an hour long about differences, but with the physics delay, this one's gonna be this one's a little depressing when you think about it, but yeah, the physics delay is kind of bad and all that. I talked about it in the description. I mean, in comments and stuff on the past video. Okay, so Falco lands from a short hop on the 25th frame. It's really the 26th frame if you count this as frame 0. So this is like frame 2 basically, but whatever. So you can see he's always going to land on the 25th frame. So if I'm right here at 24 and do an air dodge, it'll work. If I do a double jump, it'll work. And of course, I did the air dodge in an upwards direction, so you could totally notice it, but I could do a wave land, of course. That won't work in PM because if you've paid attention to the past video, you'll know that it doesn't stop or alter your momentum or anything. And beyond that, since it doesn't alter your momentum, the game has you land during that double jump or air dodge if it's the last frame before touching the ground. In which case, the game just forgets about that you even entered the input, aside from certain characters having a sound for their air dodge and stuff, which I'll show you when I turn PM on. Aside from that, I don't got any too much stuff. Oh, you can L cancel with Z in Melee by pressing Z, but you can't tech with Z. Z is technically like a light shield input. It's a light input, similar to how you can like L cancel with a light input, like analog, but you can't tech with a light input. Similarly, you can't tech in Melee with a Z input. This is different in PM for both the hard press and light press version, aka the full set and Wi-Fi set, because the way that the game's made and stuff, they couldn't make Z into a light input. So in Z in Project M can actually tech for you, and I don't know if they'll be able to change this anytime soon, but since Z can actually tech besides L cancel and stuff, this has one implication. If you try like grabbing, you're causing your tech input. Well, that's one thing. Also, so if you get hit out of trying to grab, you can like blow a tech, certain things like that. Also, you can, if you're trying to recover and you're trying to stage tech, if you're not in animation already, like you're just in free fall or something like that, odd like that, like you just got out of, well, I don't know. Just say you're in free fall and you're trying to stage tech something. Oh, like just like say you double jumped. Like you're on the edge, then you double jumped, and right before you caught it, you got some guy down airing you. And you're trying to tech, but in Melee, you have to be pretty sure that you're actually like close to getting hit before you do the tech. Or you can't even be too preemptive with this because normally you can input a tech and then it lasts for a while until you get hit, and it like if you pressed it, you can press it before getting hit with like during an up B, and then it'll last a certain amount of frames until you actually get hit, and it'll still trigger the attack. You can't really do that during free fall because you're gonna air dodge. So you might actually die if you try to stage tech while you're in free fall. Um, so, but with PM, where it's got Z as a hard press, you can trigger your tech for a stage tech without blowing air dodge. It's weird, but over time, I actually think I got rid of that habit a little bit, um, because I've wanted to make sure that I'm actually not going for it in melee. But if you're adamant about PM and can decipher between the two, you can do certain stuff with the Z button to do less riskier stage techs, stuff like that. And lastly here, hopefully I can, there we go. You cannot B turnaround down B in melee with any character, unless it's something like Shine. What do I do? Okay. So with either Captain Falcon or Marth, it doesn't matter. You can't do a down B turnaround. If you're facing forward, you can't down B the other way no matter what. You can in PM, you can melee. So you can of course side B the other way, but you can't down B. And then up B's different in melee. Like it's not really a B turnaround for some characters. They like switch their direction after a certain amount of frames. Like he's always facing the same way until a certain point. Yeah. So they get like certain up Bs get switched direction after a certain amount of time. Uh, Here, let me just do Marth and then we'll go to PM. Oh, and one other thing that's really important that really should be a video of itself is um, is you can't catch items with air dodge. So besides that, you can't really AGT either. That's its own video. But basically, like if you're fighting Peach with Falco, you can like in PM you could just wave dash to easily catch a turnip. In melee, you'd either be invincible during the air dodge and you're not going to catch it, or you're just going to get hit. There's no catch trigger while air dodging. There's only pressing A or pressing Z. I need to make a video about this when I know everything. But basically, that's like a really big difference people don't think about. Like it changes like a whole matchup and how easy it is, or changes the whole item game and stuff. In melee, you just gotta like more work around the item or like hope that you can catch it with A or Z. Okay, of course. See, I can't switch the down B direction, which you normally to do it you just hold slightly the opposite direction while you press down. But no, it's never gonna work. And similarly to Captain Falcon, yeah, after a certain amount of frames. So like I could be like doing an up B, and I don't have to be facing the other direction while I slightly do it. You can just, while it's happening, within like before it gets to that like fourth frame or something, hold the other direction, and it'll reverse. That's for certain characters. Let's go to PM now. Okay, now we're in PM, and where do we start off with? Shoot release. It's 14 frames. I'm a shield. I'm releasing shield now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? Yeah, so there's no display for Project M's debug menu since Magus made it himself rather than the developers. But if I had buffer on, that would be able to easily test how soon you can do it. But yeah, it's probably like 1 frame sooner. Obviously not able to tell too much, but did I like the camera? Yeah, I did. Wait, whatever. Okay. And the other was the running off thing. Okay, 1 frame of jump squat, 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames, 5 frames. Yeah, he's gonna make it in time for the jump anyways. But here, let me do it closer. There we go. Okay, so this is the first frame of jump squat, second frame. Yeah, he's freaking stuck. You see that third frame now, fourth frame, fifth frame. He's not falling off like he did in Melee. Instead, he's continuing with the jump squat and then getting the jump. So the game isn't gonna let you just fall off. It's gonna give you that jump that you wanted, which I don't know. Well, again, that's the standpoint of what you want for the game to do. But I guess it's more lenient for someone who was expecting to get a jump rather than jumped, but then he was too close and he's not going to get it. And now the physics delay part. I went over everything in the past video, but now this is probably one of the more impactful differences in a way. Well, they're all impactful in a negative way, aside from the whenever you jump or whatever. But okay, I can easily determine, besides counting, when he's actually going to land, because it's always like this frame where you can totally see he's like almost completely sideways, or this one. Yeah, that one. Okay, so it's always this one. Yeah, see, you can tell this is the frame. Now, if I do a double jump, it's not going to work. If I do... Okay, wait. An air dodge, it's not going to work. So, if you're 1 frame away from landing and input an air dodge or a double jump, in Melee, because it has no physics delay where it takes a frame to actually move you, it instantly moves you upward for a double jump or in the direction of the air dodge in which you either air dodge upward or you wave land. In PM, because of the physics delay from Brawl, if you're 1 frame away from landing, whereas the next frame you're going to land, whatever you input, a double jump or an air dodge, it's not going to work. So if you're, say, someone who's super frame perfect in Melee, and you're playing Falco, or any character, and you jump and plan to do a super perfect wave land, it's going to not work in PM, even though you timed it right for the input in Melee. Instead, for PM, to get the frame perfect wave land, you're of course going to want to do it the frame before that last frame that you're about to land, because I'll do it right now. The next frame, you're already falling downward, but the air dodge already initiated, which will give you that perfect wave land now. Well, which again wasn't technically, it's perfect in the standpoint of being closest to the ground. I didn't do it perfect analog wise as in the perfect angle for the most distance, but you get what I mean. Similarly, for a double jump, it's got to be this frame, because the next frame you're still falling downward, but the double jump initiated, and now you start moving upward. Now I can go to the other characters, like Falcon or Marth, and show you that they can indeed, just like in Brawl, they can B turn around or down B, giving you more options to use them in creative ways. Well, that was B verse, sorry. That's a regular turnaround. I wonder how. Okay, wait. We're gonna test the up B turnaround before it initiated. Wait. No, yeah. It's always dependent on. So yeah, you can't really B turnaround the up B. Apparently, it's still relying on the system where it turns around itself after if it detects that you have the other, if the analog facing the other way after a certain amount of frames. Yeah, wait. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so there's no instant way to B turnaround and up B, but with down B, it's of course instant, just like side B is. So up Bs are a special case. Oh, and I forgot about the other point I mentioned with the shield release. So in Melee, when we tested it, if you were shielding and release shield and press jump on the same frame, you would get the shield release and not the jump. The shield release would take priority over the jump input would, and you would instead go into shield release, which would screw someone up. But we'll see in PM, which is like Brawl, instead prioritizes the jump. So if you release shield and jump on the same frame, you're instead going to get the jump. And that was in jump squat, and now he's in the airborne state instead of the shield release. And that's everything then. Also, Squirtle is a good example of a character where you can see how the physics delay thing I was talking about is impactful for his short hop fair waveland or short hop fair double jump. It's such a tight window that you only have one frame for it, and you would actually have 2 frames for it if there was no physics delay. But that's not really a true statement though, because the physics delay also gives you that extra frame of airtime. So it would work out that you would have the same amount of frames, which is 1, to do the technique. I just made this sound confusing as hell, but you'll see what I mean once I try to explain stuff. So first off, we covered the physics delay, how after, okay, so he has 1, 2, 3, 4 frames of jump squat. He's airborne on the 5th frame. Right now he's airborne, but again, the physics delay doesn't actually have him move into the air until the next frame. So that's an extra frame of air time where he's just not moving anywhere, but he's in the air. But so that's an extra frame of air time. But the physics delay also has that thing that I talked about where right as he's about to land, if I try to air dodge, it's not going to work. If I try to double jump, it's not going to work. Oh, yeah. Because it takes a frame for it to actually do anything. I explained it. Okay, so for the technique, when you do short hop fair waveland, you have to do the fair frame perfect given, so like, or short hop fair double jump here, like that. And to do it frame perfect, again, I use X to A, but so you have to do a jump. So he's on the first frame jump squat, second frame, third frame, fourth frame. He's going to be airborne the next frame, so hold A. Now he's starting the fair on his first frame of being airborne. He hasn't moved anywhere though because of the physics delay. So now he starts moving upward. He did the fair. Now, in order to actually do it, oh, actually, let's just show you. Okay, so he's not actually done with the fair yet. He's still got a little bit to go to recover. Even though it doesn't look like it, it's still going in the animation. But now is the point where I actually have to wave land. Um, Otherwise, or maybe it's the frame after this. Whatever. Okay, so it's probably like, okay, so this is the frame where the next frame he probably lands on the ground. In which case, I'll just input the air dodge. Yeah, okay, good. Alright, so that's the right window for the technique. Let's do it again here. Now, if you do it, and then you don't do this window, you try to do it too soon, like right now I'll try it. Again, he's not over with the technique, so even though I pressed air dodge, it's not over. He's only got that one window frame. Because, okay. Now, okay, so we tried it like the frame too early, and then, well, okay, so the first time we did it correctly. Then we did it too early. Now we'll try it with the last frame before he lands. But that's where the problem comes in, where if you try to time it like that, and try to time an air dodge or a double jump, it's not going to work because of the physics delay thing that I showed you with Falco. So that's going to make the input weirder than you would normally think. You're like trying to time it, and if you enter it too late, you're actually not going to get that wave land in time, or double jump. And so if they got rid of the physics delay, you would not get the frame you would see here. This frame would actually be higher because he'd be, as soon as he'd be in the air, he would be moving, so he'd be a slightly upward more. But you'd then gain that ability to input an air dodge or double jump and get it to work, whereas right now with the physics delay, you don't move anywhere, you land, and then it forgets that you even did the input. So it'd be pretty different. Um, yeah, a lot to think.